This is an Encore. It is probably the bottom of the range Encore for starters and beginners. It's actually not a bad little guitar. It works well. It's got a few problems. The strings are black like love, black, I tell you. The neck buzzing the whole way up if it's playing because it's just far too low. I can't see any distance between the top and the bottom of the strings, so may need to remove a shim from there. But the problem is that these intonators are at their maximum height, and I don't see any pull on the trem. This has got a trem arm, but that should be pulling upwards and should have a little bit of lift from the body. Maybe it's been sealed inside. The pickups are far too low. Pickup is far too low. The tone feels like there's something wrong with it, broken inside, and there's a massive big chunk taken out of the bottom, which I think I can fix. So I'm going to turn it over now. Hello. Can I just keep going? Thank you. Georgie girl always has to get in it. It's a pretty enough guitar. Let me just check the tuners. Tuners seem all firm, and the neck looks nice. Nice neck. It has a bad scratch on that. There's nothing much I can do about that. Hello down there. I got my hat on because it's cold today. There might be a way to sort of sand it and make it all look frosty, rather than. But that scratch is deep enough to show through even a frosty thing. It has a scratch here, which I might be able to fix, and I haven't opened up the inside. And there's Georgie girl again looking at me. Would you want up on my shoulder? She does. She wants up on my shoulder. Oh, she's up on my shoulder. Right, so I'll take this apart and have a look inside, and come back to you. Right, it's got a bit darker now, and I've taken the back off, and we have a problem or two in here. Maybe I should put the light on so you can see better. Maybe not. I don't think the light makes it cold looking. There's a wire broken, and this is loose. Let me just see. This is loose. Yeah, that's loose. This is tight. So the wire needs to be resoldered, and that needs to be tightened. Right. The tremolo was a bit too far up that way, so I loosened the screws slightly. I could have taken off the middle string, but I've loosened the screws slightly, and it helped a little bit. But then I realized, that the pivot screws at the front, these screws look like they're holding that down tight to the body, but they're actually meant to be pivot screws so that the tremolo arm will move on them, and someone had tightened them super tight down, which meant that this didn't move. So I loosened just a couple of screws, and that has helped the pickup move up from the body a bit, which has increased the gap a little bit there. Now I don't want to do too much. I just wanted to be able to move up and down to allow the tremolo arm to work properly. Tremolo arm. So my next job is to take off the neck to find out what's cooking with the neck, because it looks to be, if you look closely, it looks to be, let me just see, a little bit higher up at the bottom than it does at the top. So somebody may have put a shim in there. We'll see. But if they did, they didn't need to. Okay, let's see what's behind this. Okay. It's got its own ice cream box. I had to put the ice cream box up there because Georgie girl being a pain as usual. Let's just see what's underneath here. Yes, as I suspected, somebody has put something rubber in there, but you don't put something. There you go. Oh, it's a bit of cardboard somebody stuck in there, which has lifted the neck that way, which means that you get better action, but it's gone too far. That's quite rough, that paintwork. Somebody's tried to sand it down, but I'm going to stick the neck back on without that in, and then we'll set the guitar up properly, because they may have done that to try and fix the tremolo arm so it doesn't tremble, but a bit defeatist. I'm going to tighten the truss rod now. I did a little quick test. It feels quite stiff, so you don't want to swing on the truss rod, but this needs a little bit of a good bit of tightening, so I'm going to, that's quite stiff. Let me just do it. It needs another, I'm sure. I'm going to push it, make sure it goes in right. That's very stiff. Don't want to force it too hard, because then you squish the nuts. So let me just check that. Right, that was about a quarter of a turn, and it did the job, thank goodness, because nothing worse than a truss rod that doesn't work. But can you see there, the neck has got the tiniest underbow, which is what I like, and the neck is pretty straight, so it's looking pretty good. We're looking pretty good. You can just see a glimpse of light there, so that's pretty good. Sorry about the shaky hands. Yes, that's made a bit of a difference. I've taken it off, removed that shim, and tightened the neck down, so it's brought the neck back to normal again. And now I'm going to, these frets are pretty poor. They're in good shape, but they're pretty poor. I don't think they've been polished for a while or anything like that. Oh, they're dry as anything. They feel yuck, and that means the board will need to be oiled, but it doesn't need to be scraped because there's very little done. So I'm going to sand that down with 2000, and then I'm going to oil it. I'm putting boiled linseed oil because the battery in my phone said it's gone low, and I don't think you got to see it. So hopefully you'll see the difference between the dry fret board and the one with this boiled linseed oil on it. So I'm not going to polish that boiled linseed off yet. I'm going to let it stay on and soak on, because it's a very dry fretboard. You can just tell that the wood was gasping for a drink, like an Irishman in the Sahara Desert. Racist, racist, racist. Yeah, bollocks. Irishmen can take a joke. We don't need anybody defending us, north or south. Right, here we go. Right, I'm going to switch the camera off now and come back to you when it's charged. Right, found two wires which were missing. I'm just going to solder them on. I'm going to put a little bit of paste, solder paste on them first. Cheat by putting them into the paste. I may have to put a little bit of paste on hot down at the actual part that I'm going to solder. Yeah, let's just put a little bit of solder. Can you see down in there when I'm doing that? I don't know if you can. Let me move the camera to see. Yeah, well, that's the neon lights. Chasing that neon rainbow. Yeah. I just put a little bit of solder on that down there. I try not to make it as shaky as I can. Soldering can look very shaky, and that's melted that well and truly into it. So I'm going to put just a little bit of cloth. There's the cloth there. Over the, just so that when I'm tenting the wires, I don't splash any solder down on the wires. So just tin the wires. Excuse the smoke. And there's another one tinned, so I can take that away now. And hopefully I'm going to be able to do these one at a time. Yep, that looks pretty nice. Undo this one. Right, okay. Just put it in that way. Right, okay. Come on, boy. Come on. My finger's sticking to it. My finger was sticking to it with the stuff. So that's that. And now I just put it back together and test it. Oil the switches from the inside with WD-40 and work them. They probably need worked more. The only the jack plug probably will need to be cleaned. I've loosened those two screws. Can you see the two screws? Those two screws I loosened a bit, give less tension on the springs. And also, let me just put that away. I'll turn this over. I loosened those screws just a half a turn to give it a bit more flexibility. So that'll pull up the back of it, which means that those intonation heads won't have to be at maximum height. I can bring them down and get a more stable angle on it. I've also adjusted the pickup to make it angled slightly that way, down the ways, because it was angling the other way, which meant that the front pickup wasn't going as near the strings as the back. Well, I know there's one pickup, it's a humbucker, but you know what I mean. This was slightly lower than that, so that's even now. Okay, so I may still have to put a shim on the neck, but that depends on when I put the strings on. Next thing that I could do now is put it all together and put the strings on. I'm going to clean the jack plug, and I don't know why I'm showing you this, because there's nothing magical about anything in luthier work. Bit of sandpaper, roll it up like a cigarette tightly. Just, oh, there's a cat jumped on my shoulder. You know, see where it's unloosened, where you put it in there, and you put it in there, and you push it in as far as you can, and then you just turn it. Now, if you turn it that way, it's going to jam because it'll unloosen. But if you turn it the way it went in, it'll clean. And this is 240. I probably would prefer 600. But 240 is perfectly fine as long as you're not going crazy. And you can see from what I'm doing here, there's dirt coming out and rust coming out, and I'm moving it in and out as well. So we'll see what that does. And you see it's a bit dirtier there. It would be dirty there. That's the bit that's cleaned out. You can see some rust in there. So hopefully that will be a little bit cleaner. We will use on the jack itself a little spray of switch cleaner. What I'll do is I'll spray that directly onto the jack, the switch cleaner, electrical switch cleaner. Doesn't leave any residue. I'm going to patch up this dinge. It's quite a deep one, very thick, heavy gloss on this. So I'm going to have to fill that up with super glue and quite a bit of super glue, and then sand it down. I have it wedged up. The guitar is sitting loose, but between two blocks, just so to make it convenient for that side. It seems to be pretty level, although I have to lift it a slight bit. I'll come back to you. Now I have that pretty level, so whenever I drip the super glue in there, it won't run all over the place. Well, hopefully not. We'll see. Now I'm going to stain it as black as I can. Now that's medium viscosity super glue. You notice I didn't quite get to the edge there. I was afraid of breaking the surface tension and then it runs down the sides. But what will happen now is that will shrink and shrink and shrink and dry up over the next few hours. And I more than likely will have to put another coat on. So I'm not that worried about not getting to that edge just yet. But let's pull out and you can see where we're at. I don't have the fast setting spray. I don't think I'd use it anyway because I want a super shiny gloss on this. And sometimes these fast setting sprays for super glue can make it go slightly foggy white. So we'll come back to it when this is dried off. It'll take a while. Okay. Just plugged in this Encore after doing a bit of soldering, and it's buzzing like mad, if you can hear. It's all coming from the tone switch, so I'm going to have to look inside again. There's very little volume as well. That's about half volume of my amplifier, so but I'm expecting more. Not in tune, obviously, so I'm going to dig a bit deeper. So it's working backwards. I've taken the pickup off and I see that the earth wire is disconnected. Let me just see if I can show you that. Right now, I haven't. It may be that it's. You see that white thing in the background there? It may have to connect to there, and that might be a problem if it's broken off it. Let me just try to show you. You see that there's a blue to the left, blob of glue, then there's a live going up to the pickup, and then there's white. Now if it has to connect to that, that could be a problem. Or I see another little blob of blue. If it has to connect to that, I think it's going to be more of a problem. So I'm going to have to take this pickup apart and see what happens. Sad thing is I found another piece of cardboard underneath there. Somebody's trying to raise the pickup the wrong way. And I am going to have to, let me put my second pair of glasses on. All right. I'm going to have to take that black tape off, which is a problem in itself because there's a multiple layers of tiny little wires under there, and if I break one of them, that's the end of the game. But let me look down there a little closer to see what that is down there. What is that there? Not there. I'll have to look closer under the magnifying glass, so maybe I can escape. Oh, I know what this is a humbucker, and somebody's cut off the wires there and there to stop it from being a humbucker. See the wires there and there and there, a humbucker. So they've cut the wires off to get it. So maybe I might be able to solder that to there. I'm dubious. There's another wire at the back here. It's very frazzled. A very frazzled wire there. What is that? It's very hard to see. Let me use my torch on it. Oh no, I don't want it flashing. Just work, for goodness sake. Anybody else shut out their torches? No, it's too much light. I'm gonna have to figure this out. Yeah. Right, I'm going to have to take it apart and figure it out and then come back to you. Sorry I can't show you any closer. I've got only one pair of hands. Now the humming you hear is the amplifier wired directly to the pickup. And you can hear how loud the humming is when I pick it up at the earth a little bit. But if you touch this end, you hear buzzing. Hear how buzzing that is? Right, okay. Now, you should get that kind of volume from the pickups when you touch them. You're not. You're getting a little crackle, but not much. You should be getting a lot louder sound from that because when you see the volume, that's the volume. So something's not right, and I'm going to have to take us even further apart. Well, welcome down to the bench. Hopefully the autofocus will work for us now. I spent about 10 minutes trying to get this to set up so you could see. And I don't even think you're going to see enough at this rate either. Let me just show you what I'm doing. I've opened up the case and there's that earth wire, but the earth is already earthed to that from that, so it doesn't matter too much. So the earth wire wasn't the problem, right? I was right in suggesting that someone had cut the wires to make it a single phase humbucker. But can you see that wire being cut? That wire there has been cut and trimmed. But I also see, and I don't think you're going to be able to see this, that blue wire, if you can see it, is exposed and broken. And it's also exposed and broken there. So what I'm going to do now is take off the tape, which I don't really want to do because this could be the end of this pickup and we'll have to get a new pickup for it. So I'll do it as gently as I can with my big monkey hands. Are you allowed to say monkey now? Is that racist? No? I don't know. Everything's racist these days. Right, the pickups are coming apart, which is unusual. The pickups are actually moving that way and that way, but they shouldn't be. Right, so that's that. The pickups have been denuded. And the pickups, and my hands are sticky as hell now because I use that sticky tape. Right, right, and it goes down. It goes down there as well. Right, and it goes right round it, but I'm not going to take that off because that's actually tape wrapped around the coils. You can see that there's tape below the coils, and that tape was going to start denuding everything. So now we have, what have we got there? We have so what we had, looking at this, let me just make sure you're in the right focus. We have, let me just see, is there anything else? We have the white cut wires connected together and a blue wire going to there, but this blue wire is going nowhere. And I can only assume that that blue wire should be connected to there. But that is pure guesswork. If you follow my meaning, maybe that wire wasn't meant to be cut. It was meant to be attached to there. Can you see? But that's the only thing I can actually do to see if this will get back to working again. Because the fact that they've only got the one wire going in and out means that it's phased, is it? No, it's not phased. It's been taken apart anyway and fecked, like Father Ted would say. So I'm going to try to jump that to there. It wouldn't jump. It wouldn't jump to the earth, that's for sure. Would it? No, it wouldn't. Well, we can try it and see. My hands are sticky, so you have to go back and wash my hands. Not sure what you can see now, but I don't even know whether you can see the blue wire. The blue wire was cut inside, and I don't know whether can you see the blue wire? That's what left of the blue wire, because it was snipped in there, and the only way I could get the blue wire out was to take the cover off completely. But I'm going to tint. If I can, yes, I'm going to do that. And then when I've finished, I'm going to put some heat shield on it to protect it. But this is just temporary. All right, come on, come off. Well, you'll do. That's all right. What I'm going to do now is play with it to see if it makes any difference. So I'm going to plug it in, make a noise. Switch on the plug. Plug that into this connector and then see what. Whoa, that makes a loud noise. Let me just make sure that that's what the loud noise is that I want. Yep. So that is the problem. That blue wire needed to be connected to the earth, and that reduces the hum. So what I'll do, let me look at it. Let me put it back together in some form or fashion. and it has to go that way to go back together. This is so fragile. This blue wire here is ready to fall apart, and it's covered in wax, which is pretty typical. I've got it upside down. No wonder frickin' Father Ted. That's it now. Right, okay, so this goes here, this goes here. Forgive the buzzing. Right, this goes here, this goes here, right, and that keeps the pickups at the right place. Only got to find now is the screws. There they are. It's darkness in there. So the position we have is I need to tidy that up and bring that to there. Yeah. So I'm going to get the screws, which I put away in the ice cream box, because Georgie girl would steal them if I hadn't put them away. Alright, there's the screws. I think they're slightly longer screws because they have to go. You can see that this guitar has been in the damp as well. Because the screws are rusted at the end, which is a sign that the guitar was getting damp at one stage, or the wood was damp. Sorry, my mistake. Come on, machine. The noise is bugging me. It's probably bugging you too. Let's just see if I can okay, pull the plug. Stops the noise, reduces it down for a minute. I can't see anything because of the fact that it's why can't I see the screw hole? Alright, okay. Got that one. So I've got that one. And if I've got these ones, gives me a bit of tighter surface to go. So if I can get, now where's that feckin' screw? There's a screw. There's a longer screw missing. For fix's sake. Is it in the box? No. Is it in the thing? Bloody typical. Let me look on the floor. No, it's not. Right. Well, I'll come back to it. Where'd the screw go? It was there a second ago. I can't even blame Georgie girl. Well, we'll have to come back to that to find out what happened to the screw. But let's get this job done first. Right. Oh, there it is. There, attached to the magnet. Why didn't you tell me? Huh? You're watching over my shoulder. You should be telling me. You people. I'm not even thinking about what I'm going to do about the tape yet. I'm going to try to get this. Let me just use some. This is stuff to actually get solder off. It sucks up the solder. Yeah, you see that? See that? Beautiful. Now I'm going to need a little bit of tiny bit of very fine heat shrink. And what's the finest I have? Oh, it's a black. So I have a black heat shrink, which is going to have to be cut very fine. And put on there. Still too much. Just take a little bit off it. This is heat shrink. Right, okay, so the heat shrink is not actually acting as heat shrink at the moment. It's acting as a cable cover. So I'm going to do something which I don't normally do, which is heat shrink it on now. Let's just do this. It's like operating on a okay. That makes it act like a cable, and I hope to tint. What are you tinting? What's all this tinting, Lark Austin? I've forgotten the word for it. Right, okay. I'm lost. Where did this wire come from, for feck's sake? Did I break it off when I was moving it all around? I'm now lost. That's the main wire coming in. Was it connected to that? I think maybe it was, and I might have broken it off. Yeah, like that. Yeah, so that looks like what I've done. Oh, very, very annoying. It's so sensitive that I have to almost, I can't pull at these wires, so I'm going to just have to melt off the end of it, and then hopefully the solder will stick through it when I burn off the end. If you see what I'm trying to do there. Sorry if this is so boring. Right, so that's why I have such an old tablecloth, so I can wipe it. It's not a tablecloth, it's an old sheet that I use. Right, let's try and get some solder on this. Yep. Okay, now that has to go to this. What I should have done is put, yeah, I know what I should have done, and I will do still, is put a little bit of shrink wrap over that other blue wire now, so that it's not acting as a Are you sleeping yet? I wish I was. I hate these fussy little jobs. And there's no guarantee that at the end of the day they're going to go right either. Actually, that's too small. I need something a bit bigger. Red. If it breaks in the inside or anything like that there, it'll just be a pain in the butt to... It might actually be a non-fixable thing if I break the inside of the... Right now. It's twisting and turning. You see how easy I broke the white to blue? Right, let's just see what we can do here. I don't want it just connected, I want it properly connected. Can you see anything? I don't think you can see anything, can you, with my big fat hand? Right, okay, let's try this again. Right, okay, and then this one has to go to this one. And it's going to be so hard to do, I think. Ouch, burning my pinky. Now that's not even a quarter of the job done yet, because I have to test it, make sure it's all working. Then I have to find a way to seal this all up. I might have to use one of these larger ones, cut it and go over it. But let's test it, because it's still plugged in. Yes. Now, putting it back together will be the hard part. Now, I'm just letting the camera run. If you're bored, I'm sorry. Come on, machine, you can do it. I know you can do it. Good girl. Oh, there you go. Right, okay. Now, if I heat shrink that with the edge of my... That'll give it a good protection against earthing. Not very pretty, but neither am I. Right, that's very fragile. That's very fragile. That bit there, look, you can actually see the wire through it. But do I tape it up or do I... Let me just see. I'm going to try to bluff this up. Try to give it some strength so I can get it back together. Mind you, these pickups are so cheap. Probably been better to replace them. Let me just try. I'm trying to burn it away because it's more gentle than trying to cut it. Ouch. Come away. That's it. Now there's one more in there. It's there. Somebody has tried in the past to cover it. I think I'm going to tape that. And I'm going to put that up there and tape it. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm gonna. Well, right. Okay, right. Switch off the machine. Right. Okay. Switch off the machine. Rage against the machine. Now I think I have some tape here, which might. I don't have much of this tape, so I've got to do it right the first time. It's amazing how much damage a bit of ink or tape can hide. Right, is it going to fit inside that? It is. I would like to be able to pour something in there to tighten that, but I dare not. Okay, so. Right, okay. Okay, now, where's the springs? There's springs there. I've got them in front of me. These are the springs that allow the pickup to rise and fall. This is going to be a long boring video for you lot. Oh, come on. Time for me to eat something. Right, okay. This is a Hayes Robinson job. If it was a very expensive pickup, I probably would send it back to the manufacturers to do because it's such a steel thing. But with this kind of guitar, which is a very inexpensive guitar, and if it's the way it ought to be, I wonder if I should have done this. Remember, test the electrics at the very start. Well, it doesn't really matter. Right, that's that one. Right, I think I'm going to try to find something to put in there to protect that. Right, okay. Right. Might find some wax somewhere to protect that a little bit more. Pour it in there. Let's see. Right, how much more of this can you take? Right, okay. I need to go de-solder this now. It should be 2 seconds. I need to put it back in the guitar. I think you've seen all the interesting bit. I'll put the camera off now. Go back to run that, and I'll come back to you when I put it back. Might find some wax somewhere to protect that a little bit more and pour it in there. We'll see. Right, how much more of this can you take? Right, okay, I need to desolder this now, which shouldn't be 2 seconds. I need to put it back in the guitar. I think you've seen all the interesting bit. I'll put the camera off now. The battery will be running out, and I'll come back to you when I put a bit more back together. Well, golly gosh darn it, this little boyo, for it is a boy, gave me more trouble than I was expecting. It's all working now fine, but the pickups gave me trouble, the volume control and tone knob gave me trouble, the trem didn't give me any trouble. The pickup was put in backwards, but that's okay, it's fixed now. I managed to fix the chunk out of it. It's gone. Not the greatest job. Couldn't do the little scratch at the back. It's almost right down to the bottom. But what I'm going to do is give it a little demo and let you hear it. Say goodbye to it. Goodbye to it. Oh. Right, this little troublesome boyo. Intonated, frets polished, all through the things. Keeping a black guitar clean is a pain in the butt. The tone control boosts the bass. Trem arm is working. Don't have the trem arm with this guitar, so I had to use something. It's all working okay now, nice and loud, nice little guitar. You've seen what I did to it. I don't need to go through the whole lot with you again by gobbling it. This thing's not about me, it's about the guitars. So there you go.